Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, after an introduction like that, I should just sit down and not ruin it. General Amos, God bless you, sir. You and Bonnie were a great commandant and first lady of our Corps. To have you say those nice words about me means a lot to me, Jim. We've been friends a long time. Thank you. And I won't try to rebut all the things you got wrong. Lynn and I are delighted to be here with you tonight. This is a very, very special organization. I've had 3 years to think about what I was going to say to you. But even today, it was going through my mind, what can I say that will impart to you how important I believe the mission of Veterans Bridge Home is. So I thought to try to do that, I would simply try to tell you why being here tonight is important to me. And there are 2 reasons that I want to talk about. There's many more than 2, but 2 I want to address. One is, quite simply, I owe more than I can ever repay. It started, as General Amos pointed out, during the Tet Offensive of 1968 in Hue City, Vietnam, when I reported to my first duty assignment. I was my platoon's 3rd platoon commander in as many weeks. I had been commissioned a 2nd lieutenant on the 7th of June, 1967, and as all Marine officers do, I had gone to Quantico, Virginia to the basic school. By the time I shipped off to Vietnam, I thought I understood what it was to be a Marine. I didn't have a clue until I got to Vietnam and took command of my platoon. And most of the heavy fighting in Hue City had already been completed. But there was enough for the next month to keep us busy. After that time in Hue, I never again misunderstood what it meant to be a Marine in combat. And it's not that Marines don't understand fear. They do. But they fear more that somehow they'll let down the Marine on the left of them or the right of them, and they fear being hurt personally. And that's why your Corps of Marines will always succeed in battle. But I learned a lot from those Marines. And over the 13 months I had the privilege of being with that battalion in the field in Vietnam, there were at least 3 times when I know I should have been at least wounded, if not killed. People in front of me, people in back of me, people beside me. Marines. I didn't get a scratch. In those days, we were on individual replacements, so I left Vietnam on my own. And smartly, the Marine Corps kept us on Okinawa for about a week, give us a chance to decompress. During that week, I went to church every day, trying to figure out why it was that I was still alive, or what I might do, or what I should do. The answer I came up with was that I should stay on active duty, and that I should stay until I was no longer needed. And I would know that I was no longer needed when I did not get promoted. That part worked out okay. But the other thing I did, I made a promise to myself that I would always try to pay respect in the way I lived my life, to pay respect to those Marines who had died under my leadership in Vietnam. Lance Corporal Guido Farinero, Corporal Chubby Hale, PFC Whitey Charvis, Corporal Mike Witt, Staff Sergeant Freddie Williams, Lance Corporal Little Joe Arnold, Lance Corporal Dan Miller. Great young Marines, every single one of them a teenager, except for the Staff Sergeant, who was 31. I've tried to live my life in a way that does pay respect to the way that they sacrificed theirs. I am so far behind, though, in why I said to you, I still owe more than I can repay. Because after I left Vietnam and I got to the Marine Barracks in DC and the privilege of commanding more Marines, I tried to give to them in DC what I could no longer give to my Marines in Vietnam. And the more I tried to take care of them, the more they took care of me. And on and on and on, year after year after year. I tried to take care of those in my charge, and they just took care of me in ways that were unbelievable. So I am hopelessly behind. But the chance to be able to stand in front of you and talk about not only your Corps of Marines, but my great fortune to be a Joint Commander later on in life, and how proud we are of all of our armed forces, and what great patriots they are, and what great natural resources they are. To be able to stand with you tonight and to talk about the great work that Veterans Bridge Home does to help them, whether they need help emotionally, or with a job, or with family assistance, to be invited to speak to you about that is a calling for me and an opportunity to stand in front of you and confess how much I owe to so many soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Coast Guardsmen, and now Space Force in my life. So number one is the incredible talent, patriotism, service of all of our service members. Number two, our military families are incredible. I learned most of what I know about military families in my own kitchen. Here's what I think I know. When the service member is tired in training, our families dust us off, tell us how important what we are doing is, tell us they are proud of us, and make us want to get up the next morning and get back into the training cycle. When we deploy, especially if it's to combat, our families don't know when we're actually in combat, so they wake up every day with the fear that today's the day where their loved one will be in combat. And because they don't know, they worry every single day. Unfortunately, some are killed in action. Unfortunately, some are wounded in action. And unfortunately, their families, their wives, their husbands, their children pay that price for the rest of their lives. To have a group like Veterans Bridge Home available not only to the veterans themselves, but to their families is a blessing. And you got to hear on the video some of the voices of those who've been helped. One thing that did not come through on that video, and it's really important, especially in today's age after the way that we left Afghanistan. Military families want to know, do their fellow citizens care about them? As a senior officer traveling around, you can ask any officer in this room. When you traveled, the troops would ask you, are we being supported at home? Does anybody really care? And I will tell you categorically that the fact that the Veterans Bridge Home exists is well known in your armed forces. It's a statement that not only are we helping here in the Carolinas, but the statement goes well beyond those two states. It tells active serving military and their families that yes, we care about you, we respect you, and we will be here for you. So tonight, because I owe more than I can ever repay, and because our families are so incredibly talented, and oh, by the way, our families serve this nation as well as anyone who's ever worn the cloth of the uniform. For those two reasons and many more, I'm proud to be here with you tonight. I'm proud to be part of this organization. And I thank each of you who has already donated. And those of you who are thinking about it, I'll guarantee you this. Whatever you decide to give, if you decide to give, will take care of the troops and their families. And you can rest assured it will go to the purpose for which you gave it. Thanks for the honor of being here tonight.